Hey y'all, welcome to Gadfly, the podcast about third parties, fringe candidates, and generally weird American electoral history. I'm Dusty Wilson.
I'm Una O'Leary.
And this is take 2 after a week of rest of this episode. I think I had RSV.
Yeah.
Yeah. Apparently one of the side effects that's a little on the rarer side is it will paralyze the muscles that help you talk. And Una, I don't know how much you could verify this, but I tried to do last week's episode and 2 sentences into the script, I sounded just wasted.
I wouldn't say drunk because you didn't have that like personality shift that goes with being drunk.
True. I wasn't just like constantly like, we should stay up till 4 a.m. You're my best friend.
It was more like the time I had to get a cavity filled and I had the appointment at like 8 a.m. and then just walked to work. But it's a nasty SOB of a cavity because they kept having to put in more Novocaine because I could still feel something. And then we'd have to wait a little bit, but I guess we weren't waiting long enough because it'd be like, nope, still there. Shoot me up, guys. So we're talking like full on half the face, like Novocaine for a horse.
Yeah.
And then I went
they should just knocked you out.
That would have been preferable, especially because then I went to work just in time for our weekly all-staff meeting where I was expected to give the business development update.
No.
and it was a nightmare.
You know, Una's doing pretty good for, I think, having a stroke. She's really nailing this.
And so my heart went out to you because, like, I know that feeling where it's just like you are like mentally in full control of you're aware of yourself and that you should be able to make these sounds with your mouth.
Yeah.
But then you make the sounds with your mouth and in fact you cannot.
Yeah. It's it really sucks, but I'm glad we're out of the woods. There's going to be minor trip ups like with thus and shuz if they come in succession. I found those are a little tough still, but we're at least in the clear enough that people won't get thoroughly mad if they download this. So Una, as we talked a little bit last week before things went haywire, I've discovered a cursed sentence that if I say it, I'm gonna make the week suck.
Oh no.
And that is, I think I'm going to do something fun and easy for a topic. Because every single time it results in more work than I expected and it being a bummer of a time. So, you know, today we're going to be talking about a third-party dude that I think pretty much everyone remembers as long as you're around in 2010 and could form memories then. We're going to be talking about a dude who was pure meme material, and that is Jimmy McMillan of the Rent is Too Damn High party.
Yes, the rent is too damn high.
He is. He's not wrong. The rent is continually too damn high. And so if you need a vision of Jimmy McMillan, he has intensely well-manicured facial hair. He kind of had like a Billy Goat scruff for a beard, like a hipster mustache, mutton chops, all at the same time. And it worked.
And he was also the living embodiment of a Seinfeld character. Like he was a Seinfeld character come to life, existing within our own universe.
100%. I think we were talking about like the story would probably be that, you know, George became a landlord for an episode and Jimmy would be his tenants because Kramer gave him a raving endorsement.
Yes, and then he and Kramer like joined forces against George, obviously, because the rent's too damn high.
Yeah, I mean, George works for the Yankees. Of course he doesn't understand the plight of the common man. But yeah, so he was known for that. He wore black gloves during debates, and he's mostly well known for being parodied by Kenan Thompson at least 3 different times on Saturday Night Live. And he has a lot of history behind him. So first, we're going to have to go through his somewhat vague origin story, a couple proto campaigns before he starts doing real ones. But Una, there's one thing I want you to do before we start, and you could write this down or you can think of it, but I want you to answer internally.
Okay.
With one word. Why is the rent too damn high?
Okay, thought of it. Great.
We will come back to this in about 30 minutes when Jimmy gives us an answer.
Oh, very nice. When he says, "Is this your card?"
Yes, it's the Ace of Diamonds, and yes, my rent is still too damn high. So we begin our tale in 1946, in the town where Jimmy was born, New Smyrna Beach, Florida.
So fancy.
It was New Smyrna Beach is the town that made me realize my mouth isn't working, and it never will. everything about it is why English is so hated to learn. But yeah, so he's born in this beachside town in Florida. And as for his childhood, I really have nothing. There are no interviews inquiring into his past, and Jimmy's never been forthcoming about it. But at some point, he moves to Brooklyn. It's usually the other way around, but hey.
It's a life cycle.
Yeah.
You move to Brooklyn from New Smyrna, then you move back to New Smyrna.
Yes. So we're going to have to skip until Jimmy is around 20, which is about the time that he joins the U.S. Army, just in time to be shipped off to Vietnam for 2 years.
Oh, shit. Oh,
Yeah.
my God. 2 years?
For 2 years. And now he was a door gunner for helicopters. So probably about the worst job you could have in Vietnam.
It's up there. Damn.
Yeah. Just the sheer fact that he survived is really impressive. But he would eventually get an honorable discharge, mainly because he was exposed to Agent Orange.
Oh, no.
So I've never really looked into Agent Orange. I've just known it's bad and it sucks. So did you know that it was part of a group of chemicals referred to as rainbow herbicides?
That I did not know. But what I do know is that, yes, it is everywhere. Like, if you were a GI, you were probably splashing around in the water. Guess what was in the water?
Oh, Agent Orange. Amongst
Like
other agents.
Oh, so there was like an Agent Purple, an Agent Blue, an Agent Green?
Yeah. So eventually there were Agent Green was the first, then Pink, then Purple, then Blue, then Agent Orange. Then they made Agent Oranges 2 and 3.
Oof.
Yeah. So it was Agent Orange was invented towards the ends of the 40s. And its use was inspired by British using defoliants during the Malaysian War for Independence. So
a long history of fucking over the locals.
Exactly, yeah. Because one of the bigger issues in Vietnam is that, our troops were not trained in fighting in dense foliage, and the locals were. And so,
yeah. And I've been to Vietnam, and like some of those hilltops are still affected. Like they look like little monks' heads. They're just, there's nothing there.
But not only can you kill a lot of dense rainforest, you can also kill crops. And that's what they did. They would essentially
fetuses.
Yeah. Oh, you're jumping ahead.
Okay.
Because it's the most highly effective of the main rainbow herbicides that came out at the time, and it contains a toxin called dioxin. And while it destroyed 20,000 acres of mangrove forest and thousands of acres of crops, it was also sprayed over 4 million Vietnamese citizens. The long-term results are leukemia, Hodgkin's lymphoma, multiple myeloma, prostate cancer, respiratory cancer, lung cancer, soft tissue sarcomas, stillbirths, birth defects, including cleft palate, spina bifida, and neural tube defects. And on top of that, 40,000 U.S. soldiers would file claims due to being exposed to Agent Orange. And by 1993, can you guess how many of them had actually been compensated?
Oh, no. Like 2?
You're actually under 486.
Okay.
So
okay.
Just a touch over 1%.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And dioxin has a real habit of seeping into water, into soil. You kind of can't get rid of it. And once it's in people, you can't get rid of it. It's just a god-awful thing we invented. And somehow that doesn't count as chemical warfare and banned by the Geneva Conventions.
It is. Yeah, it's a war crime. It's up there with like the hunt for still active mines in that area.
Yeah. In Laos and Cambodia. Yeah. It's. Ugh. But wait, it gets worse. So the Air Force was tasked with removing all the remaining barrels of Agent Orange in 1972, but they found there was a specific way in which it could be destroyed safely, but it was expensive, and we need to see if someone wants to buy it first.
No!
They took all
this
these
is on eBay.
They took thousands of 50-gallon barrels of this shit, shipped it off to the Johnston Atoll, which is one of the islands of the Pacific that we just kind of own after World War II.
Mm-hmm.
And it sat there while the barrels leaked into the sand and seawater for 5 years.
No!
Surprise, no one wanted to buy it. So eventually in 1977, they finally destroyed all of it.
Oh, my heart aches.
It's up there with some of the worst shit we've done. So that's Jimmy's early life. is
Yikes.
witnessing the horrors of war, by his own words, killing hundreds of people. And then for his thanks, he gets exposed to Agent Orange, which ends up affecting him and his children.
Oh, sure. Wait,
Yeah.
how were his children affected?
So Agent Orange has a habit of once it gets into your body, the dioxin ends up affecting your reproductive system and it kind of gets into your DNA. So any dioxin can pass down to your children. And like I said, in Vietnam, the biggest issues with that were spina bifida, neural tube issues. Yeah. So that's all because of dioxin in the reproductive system.
I wondered about it because obviously it's obvious if the mother's exposed, but I always wondered if like the father's exposed, if there's still yikes.
Yep. So yeah, Jimmy's children will come later, but it's So, following his exposure, he goes back to Brooklyn and settles down into one long-term career and a handful of side hustles. So, in 1968, he began his 2-decade career as a mail carrier for the USPS, which is a fantastic job if you can get it. But it clearly wasn't Jimmy's main passion. And during the 70s, Jimmy would use his spare time to try and make it as an entertainer. The timeline of this is hard to pin down, and I can't really verify outside his own word, but he claims to have worked as a stripper during this time.
Okay, Jimmy.
Yeah, based on his older pictures, I get it. I really get it.
Nice.
But that's kind of more of a short-term gig, because his real passion would be to make it as a singer. Jimmy claims that initially he'd be discovered and signed to Brunswick Records, who were the preeminent R&B record label of the 50s and 70s. By 1975, though, things were kind of not meant to be. Brunswick was in a slump. They had only 2 reliable artists in the Shy Lights and Tyrone Davis, and it was kind of falling apart. And they would officially kind of become a zombie organization in 1982 after being sued into the ground. So Jimmy ends up leaving the record label pretty early on after they signed him, and he made it sound like it was more of his own decision rather than letting him go, and who really...
Can't fire me, I quit.
Exactly. And so he goes back to Brooklyn and founds his own record company called Hamster Records.
It's a great record name.
It's not terrible. He'd take on the stage name of Jimmy Mack, which is a bold move because at the time there was an R&B singer in Detroit going by Jimmy Mack who was already getting regional acclaim. So
and I would not mess with the guy from Detroit personally.
I would not either. Look, Brooklyn's a tough neighborhood.
But let's be real.
Detroit, no, don't do it. Now, I didn't expect much in this. I was like, okay, he had a record thing. I doubt I can find much news or info about it. He might even be lying. This could be entirely false. But there is a dedicated internet subculture out there cataloging and uploading whatever obscure vinyl they can find. So we got a boatload of information about Jimmy Mack.
God bless you, internet nerds.
And thanks to them, we can actually listen to his first ever release on Hamster Records. And it's his 1975 single, A Woman Is Hard to Understand by Jimmy Mack. Now, let's get this going.
Hey girl, come here. Let me tell you something. All that. You know what? My daddy always told me that you women were mean, but I had to find out for myself. Look here. What no other woman got. You're different alone, and I can't figure it out. My father said, son, my father said, there's a difference in every man. He said, son, you know that a woman was hard to understand. Ooh, yeah. That's what my daddy told me. I remember them words. I remember him so far.
So yeah, that is a great fucking song.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a 3-minute tune. It doesn't overstay its welcome. The beat's great. I only have one complaint with it, and it's that much like Chicago storefront theater, there's just a little too much improv. Like bridge, Jimmy just keeps going.
Interesting.
Like the backup singers are trying to do their job, and he's just constantly talking about women can't be understood.
Oh no, Jimmy.
Women be shopping. But I mean, I can definitely see from this, like, yeah, I can see why a major label would want to sign him. He clearly knows what he's doing. He
No,
wrote the
it
song.
sounds, and this is going to sound like a dig, but it's not. It sounds like all the other songs that came out there, for better or for worse. It's like, this.
I don't see it being a massive hit, but it's definitely, I could definitely dance to it, and I could.
It's catchy as hell. Yeah.
Yeah. So, according to the website Discogs.com, Jimmy didn't have too many follow-ups. In 1977, he would re-release this single and renamed it to A Woman Is So Hard to Understand. In 1978, he released a holiday duet called Christmas Is Just Around the Corner, which he performed with the artist Sizzy, and donated the sales to the Sickle Cell Disease Foundation.
Oh my gosh, cute.
And following this, I can't 100% prove it, but it seems like Jimmy rebranded himself.
Okay.
Because looking at...
You got to as an artist.
Yeah, looking at Hamster Records, I'm pretty sure Jimmy was the only person he signed. Because the address he uses for Hamster Records is his apartment address.
There you go.
It's not like it's a studio. He's not signing anyone else.
Or it is a studio, but not the kind you're thinking.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
So there would be another funk holiday single, Merry Christmas to You, Part 1 and 2, which would be performed by McMillan and Rogers Express Mail. I don't know if Rogers Express Mail was a band or if McMillan and Rogers was a duo he was doing, but their group name was Express Mail, or if this is like a rid of his post office. I don't know. Then there was a single featuring the songs Love Lesson and Break 1,000 Ways, Part 1, by an artist who referred to himself as the X-Man.
Okay, X-Man.
So I think, because X is in parentheses, I think this might be in reference to Jimmy's fondness of pornography.
Oh.
He would one day say that Deep Throat was his favorite movie.
So he was there at ground zero essentially for porno chic.
Oh yeah, you're right at the crossroads of porn stars potentially becoming movie stars and movie stars potentially doing porn.
Exactly.
So it's not a bad move. I can't prove it's Jimmy because there's no recording of this, but it's my best guess. But then we have, I think, the best evidence of Jimmy's attempts at rebranding. One of the last records released was by an artist named Poo Poo, P-U-P-U. And it's a two-sider featuring the songs Living and Who You Know, Not What You Know. And the second of which has been uploaded to YouTube. So we're going to get this one going.
So many years I've been struggling hard, trying to make a name for myself. But out of all those struggling years, I still haven't found success. It's like a jungle out there. It's like a jungle out there. Who you know, not what you know.
So it's a more bitter turn.
Yeah.
So that's apparently a subgenre of funk called boogie, or it's also known as electro funk or post disco.
Sure, like your Parliament
kind of sort of, yeah.
Funk.
Yeah. It's definitely not my cup of tea to any stretch, but would you agree that sounds like Jimmy?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So terrible rebranding, awful new artist name. One of my favorite things about the song is there's a really bitter lyric later on that's do you want to get on Soul Train? You got to know somebody.
Oh, Jimmy.
Like Jimmy, look, everyone wants to get on Soul Train.
Yeah.
You're not the only one they said no to.
If anything, I think in the year of the Nepo baby, this is the song that needs to be re-released.
Yeah, I'm sorry you're not one of Berry Gordy's 80 abandoned children.
Oh my God. I know we're not talking about the musician.
But yeah, it's just a bitter and angry tune, especially compared to when it's hard to understand. It might be misogynistic, but it's a bop. Can't deny the beat's good.
It's like, at first, Jimmy just didn't understand.
Yeah.
This time, Jimmy understands. and it sucks.
Yeah, Jimmy's been told no for 5 years too long, and he is not happy about this. It really, really sucks. But yeah, this would be the last record released on Hamster Records. And he seems to, at the birth of his first child, abandons being a musician in one fell swoop.
I mean, yeah, I can't imagine like getting funky to a really bitter song.
Right. Like no one
I don't care how good the bass is. Like I'm not feeling good by the end of it.
Yeah, no one wants to go to the Soul Train for a bummer. It's not gonna work. It's like
I'm just angsty. I like what groove I can't groove to angsty.
I don't want to be in a room with the guy singing this.
True.
Like, oh, he works for the post office. It's that period of time where I can't trust people from the post office, and he's this mad. Oh no.
Mm-mm.
But it reminds me of the SNL skit, The Worst of Soul Train. And even with that, there's like the songs on that skit were still kind of better. But yeah, so he retires from music, hangs up his Casio keyboard and MIDI drums, and just goes back to working entirely at the post office. But he does end up retiring after 20 years in 1988, which would make him about 42 when he retired from the post office.
That's what you could do back then. I mean, cops can retire at 45.
Oh my God, that's irritating.
And their pension just carries them into the 80s.
But a lot of the reason is it seems like Jimmy just wanted to change the scenery. He wanted new work. So he enrolled in the Barclay Private Security Investigations Academy, which is a fancy way of saying he did a job placement program with a rent-a-cop company.
Nice. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And in 1 year, Jimmy McMillan is reborn as a private investigator.
So we're talking French Connection chase scene.
Exactly. Yeah. You can't stop this, Jimmy. It's Flatbush. And yeah, I mean, you have the most conspicuous facial hair probably anyone's ever seen, but you know, you do you, man. It both works and it doesn't. And this is where Jimmy's life really takes off. Shortly after graduation, Jimmy did two things. One, he became a karate instructor. I cannot find anyone that he studied under. I think he's self-taught, a self-taught black belt.
Oh, no.
Yeah, this is around about the time that karate cults were a thing, too.
Oh, totally.
Yeah, we had one here in the northern burbs of Chicago that got really dangerous.
Oh, I just feel like litigation, it's a bad sign if you're your own lawyer. Don't be your own sensei.
Oh my God. The second thing he did, while he was waiting to be hired for private work of any sort, Jimmy began investigating things on his own. And what he discovered was as ominous as it was vague. He would allude to uncovering a single scheme that involved a combination of real estate fraud, mortgage fraud, a real estate Ponzi scheme, and apartheid.
Oh, shit. Yeah, apartheid.
Yeah, if you could bring over South African apartheid into the fucking real estate market, you have got yourself a scheme.
That was not on my bingo card.
Yeah. But what exactly was the scheme, you may ask? Well, we're going to have to wait because Jimmy would not reveal the full scope of what he had uncovered until at least 2005.
What? Okay.
Because he was trying to do things the right way. He tried to contact local and state law enforcement, but found not only were they disinterested in helping, they were probably in on the take. So, if he was going to do the right thing, there was only one option left for him. Jimmy's got to run for mayor in New York City.
Yes.
If authority isn't listening to you, become the authority.
Be the authority. Yeah. Obs.
So on May 4th, 1993, he entered the Democratic primary for mayor in New York City. It'd be an incredibly tough task for Jimmy to win, mainly because he would have to beat an incumbent mayor, David Dinkins. But thanks to a combination of high unemployment, Republican candidate Rudy Giuliani speaking nonstop of a rise in crime, and the recent Crown Heights riot, it was possible for a candidate to be able to sneak in and squeeze out David Dinkins. You would just have to do a ton of work and hit the ground running, which Jimmy did not do.
Oh, okay.
He would mostly plan out his campaign in obscurity until something really strange happened to him. After midnight, on June 24th, Jimmy was walking through his neighborhood of Flatbush, Brooklyn, when a car pulled up beside him and asked him for directions. And being, Jimmy, he started giving people directions.
Sure.
When suddenly another car pulls up next to that one, and 4 to 5 dudes rush out, blindfold him, and push him into the car.
Really?
Really?
Really? Okay.
So they drive him to a wooded area next to Sheepshead Bay, and they pull him out of the car, tie him to a tree, and douse him in gasoline.
Oh no.
And then they run away.
Oh, okay.
So Jimmy is tied to a tree in Sheepshead Bay until about 4 a.m, when police find him reeking of gasoline and just there.
Oh my God.
The New York Daily News attempted to reach out to Jimmy for comment, but he never replied. But if anyone asked him directly, this was tied directly to his private investigation of shady real estate fuckers. And this to him was a warning. Drop out of the mayoral race, or we might actually light you on fire next time.
And I mean, I'm still failing to see how any of this makes sense. Like,
I don't know what you're not getting here. Gas was cheap, so was rope. Sheepshead Bay, it's like, I don't know. It's not that far of a drive.
Who dumps gasoline on strangers, though? Unless they're just like...
scheme. I mean, yeah, I imagine these were all questions the cops asked and then did not get a satisfactory answer.
Yeah.
And once again, Jimmy would not expound on why he was kidnapped until 2005. We will tie this up then. But there would be only one time that Jimmy would make the news before the Democratic primary. And that's mostly because he wouldn't actually qualify to run. He needed to get 7,500 signatures, and when the deadline hit, he was short by 300.
Oh.
So to say the least, I don't think he took it very well. I mean, if you get kidnapped and doused in gasoline, and then you don't make the ballot, all that work and you get nothing.
He could have been collecting 300 signatures, but he was tied up to a tree and doused with gasoline.
I mean, 300 people in Little Italy, but no, at 3 in the morning. So on October 26th at 5 in the morning, Jimmy made his way to the Brooklyn Bridge, and armed with a combat knife, Jimmy climbed up on one of the cables. The cable of a bridge are those like dangly bits between the towers that hold the entire weight of the bridge and everything that crosses over it.
Yes, because it's a suspension bridge.
Exactly, yeah. So he scaled the cable to the top of the Brooklyn Bridge. And of course, people kind of get nervous and call the cops when you climb one of the most famous bridges in the world, especially around rush hour. The cops show up and they try to talk him down, but much to the chagrin of everyone waiting, Jimmy refused. The only way he was going to come down was if the news came to the bridge and broadcast his message to the city, which, it's a bold move for a guy who isn't even running for mayor anymore.
Right. Like, I would have thought maybe reinstate me as a mayoral candidate and I'll come down.
That'd be great. But no. So the police agree, but rather than sending any news crews or magazine or newspaper journalists, they find a guy with a camera and have him show up and act like he's filming it for the news. And this works. Jimmy is happy he does this. He climbs on down and the police arrest him and then take him to Kings County Hospital, where he's kept for 2 weeks under mental evaluation.
I'm with Jimmy now. That was fucking rude of them.
Yeah. But from what I can tell, it doesn't seem like any charges were pressed. And after he gets out of the hospital, nothing happens to Jimmy. He gets away with it.
Okay.
I mean, I imagine, yes, there's a lot of things going on. The last thing you're going to do is to loop back around on this. But yeah, so Jimmy gets to make a scene and get away with it.
Well, and then he loses 2 weeks.
Yeah, but yeah. So it'd been a rough first year running for office, especially when your goal is to expose this deep underground organization. But Jimmy is not the sort to give up easily. So, in 1994, Jimmy decided to set his sights higher. Because he can't be the authority of the city, why not be the authority of the whole state?
Yeah.
In 1994, he runs for governor. Once again,
classic third-party mentality. Do you, Jimmy?
It's really good. Yeah. So, once again, he would set himself up for a real struggle because he's running in the Democratic primary against incumbent Governor Mario Cuomo. But like with Mayor Dinkins, there's a route to pull off an upset. The recession's hurting everyone across the state. Cuomo has been tied to releasing a guy named Arthur Shawcross in 1987. So Shawcross was a guy who had been imprisoned for manslaughter, and after being released, he goes on a 10-woman murder spree for 2 years. Once again, though, Jimmy would have to work his ass off to be a powerful 3-term governor. And to be fair, he does make a bold choice this time around. He's going to campaign by walking from Brooklyn to Buffalo.
Jimmy, no.
And then he's going to walk back to New York City.
Jimmy, no one cares. And I worry about your knees.
You say that and you're right. But one of the reasons that it's kind of a good idea is to make the ballot in New York for governor, you have to get 15,000 signatures, which you could probably get alone in New York City, but you have to get at least 100 signatures in 16 of the state's 31 districts. So walking across the state, I could see getting 100 signatures in 16 districts as
Totally.
possible.
Yeah.
And then you just get the rest of New York.
Yeah, and then the rest of New York starts to know you because God knows they don't want to deal with someone who's only like hung out in New York City.
So along the way, he wore his karate gi, complete with a headband with the date 10/25/93 on it, which if you remember, that's the day he climbed up on the Brooklyn Bridge. So he began his walk in April and stayed in homeless shelters along the way. And it would take over half his journey before the press finally started to notice. He made his way to Rochester, and that's when the Rochester Democrat and Chronicle would talk to him after he did a little speech at the steps of City Hall. During the interview, he stated that he was probably not going to walk back from Buffalo because when he was outside of Syracuse, he got hit by a car and it kind of fucked up his hip.
Oh my God.
Yeah, one little side effect of doing a walking tour.
That is so terrible.
It really sucks, especially because he said at one point that all he wanted from the people passing him is to just slow down and say, "Hi, Jimmy."
Oh.
Yeah. So he said he'd probably have to take a bus home, but...
Oh, this man served his country.
He did. He suffered, genuinely. But he was happy to give the newspaper a bullet point platform, which ended up, at least according to them, sounding fairly Republican for being in the Democratic primary.
But isn't that the way of Democratic candidates from New York City?
So this platform included cutting business taxes to increase jobs, citation needed, cut the size of the state's government, reduce the governor's salary from $130,000 to question marks.
Question marks aren't going to put food on your table, Jimmy.
But you can't tax them, so. And finally, cutting the cost of apartment rent.
Honestly, ahead of his time. Ahead of his time.
Jimmy would reach Buffalo on May 18th, but after a quick blurb in the local papers, that was the end of any attention his walking tour would get. But it probably would have stayed that way if he didn't decide to stay in Buffalo for at least a few more weeks. Because on June 3rd, the state Democratic Convention was going to occur, where they're going to endorse Mario Cuomo for governor as just a matter of procedure. Somehow Jimmy got himself inside, and while Mario was giving a speech, Jimmy stood up, ripped the Cuomo sign in half, and stated, while heckling the governor, quote, "People are eating dog food because of your administration." I'm sure he had more to say. That's when he got tackled and thrown out of the building.
Nice.
Cuomo reacted to this by saying, quote, "If you don't have one or two incidents like this, they begin to think you're Republicans."
Man.
Yeah, exactly. In the end, this campaign would end somewhat the same way as the mayor's race because Jimmy was unable to hit the signature threshold required for him to run.
No.
But instead of giving up, Jimmy kept running as a write-in candidate.
Good for him. A walk-in candidate, if you will.
I hate it so much. He gave an interview with the Buffalo News at a Burger King at the Greyhound stop. I can't think of a sadder sentence, but here we are. And it's at this Burger King where Jimmy said, quote, "I am overqualified for governor. I'm ready for this job. I climbed to the top of the Brooklyn Bridge and I stopped traffic for 12 hours, which he didn't. That's a 10-hour overstatement. I only ask for the chance to be heard, and I will not be ignored." He also used the interview to expand his platform to include reinstating the death penalty and authorizing a state of emergency to deal with the recession. I don't know how that would work, but so this
maybe it dovetails with the reinstatement of the death penalty. Who can say?
If we sacrifice enough people, the gods will fix the economy. It's the only way.
If the people eat Soylent Green and don't ask what it is or where it comes from,
we're going to build a volcano and sacrifice people into it.
Yes.
It will make the Adirondacks look awesome.
The Chicago school will be thrilled with us.
So this extra month of work resulted in him getting 0 write-in votes.
Oh.
Yeah. Between 1995 and 2005, Jimmy would mostly go back to his regular life. It seems that Jimmy might have run for president in 1996 in the Republican primaries, but I can't find any proof of this aside from one site that says he got 70 votes, but I don't know where and I don't know when. He would briefly enter the Democratic primaries for senator, which would have seen him competing against Hillary Clinton, but once again, he'd be kicked off the ballot for not having enough signatures. So Jimmy had entered into politics with a sheer force of will, and all that had gotten him was repeatedly kicked off the ballot in every race he entered. That would all change in 2005. After a decade of trying to break into the Democratic primary, Jimmy would take a new route and start a brand new political party, the Rent is Too Damn High Party.
Yes.
Now, that name may seem pretty self-explanatory, but for a bit of foreshadowing, it helps to note that the party had a website, and it would be stated that rent had mysteriously gone up across the city 4 times since 9/11. Another way you could say that is rent has gone up every year, but he specifically wants to note that since 9/11, rent has gone up. So
what is the airline fuel can't melt metal and rent has gone up 4 times?
Jet fuel can't melt your deposit.
Jet fuel can't.
The thing is that's kind of a hard thing to track now. I'm sure it's true, but rent data is really kind of hard to get before 2007. And to average out rent across the entire city is ridiculous. Because rent on, say, the Upper West Side of Manhattan is going to be different than rent in Queens.
Yeah,
it's
no
going to ridiculously average out.
Yeah. And it's that sense of too, is it doubling every year or is it going up by $50?
Yeah. But I also 100% believe that it's been going up.
Yeah.
But lucky for the city, Jimmy and his party had a plan to reduce rents across the board.
Communism.
Fuck off. 1, call for an investigation into how value of buildings can rise exponentially within 3 years. He gives an example of this one building that sold for $40,000 in 2002, then sold for $700,000 in 2005, which Jimmy thinks is massively suspicious, but he should probably link to what he's talking about. I don't know what he's even referring to.
Like not even the building. It's just these are just cold numbers.
Yeah, it's just no address, no like link to a sale, just like cold ass numbers.
What I also love is like, I mean, I have such fondness myself in movies and TVs for characters where like they're right, but they're idiots. And I just feel like Jimmy's right. Like what the numbers he possibly are making up, but could be sort of true somewhere, are absolutely like part of the larger housing bubble.
Yeah.
It's just no one knew. We just knew we were getting squeezed out of a really, really shitty apartment that we were sharing with 5 other girls.
Right. I shouldn't have to be struggling this hard for a studio, but here we fucking are.
Here we are.
So step 2, cap rent at $650 a month for 4 years. What is missing from this, though, is he doesn't really specify what kind of apartment he means. Is it a studio? Is it a 4-bed, 4-bath?
Is it to code?
Is it the little space in the sewer that the chuds made? Who knows? So in today's money, that's $990 a month for rent, which is honestly, that sounds great.
Yeah, please.
So the details on this do kind of shift on the party's website, depending on which page you're on. One page calls for a cap at $550, while another calls for the cap to last for 8 years. So it's not really good on consistency. But there's a disclaimer on the website saying we apologize for typos and mistakes on it. It's just like, is this like, I'm a disabled veteran, so please allow for mistakes.
Yeah, so boomers should have that on their website.
Yeah. 3, pass a law preventing price gouging and rent.
Yeah.
4, work in tandem with the IRS to prosecute landlords.
Fuck yes.
5, ban abandoned buildings.
Ooh, yeah.
I want more details. Like,
very valid.
How long must a building be empty for it to be abandoned?
What will you fill it with? Other Chase banks?
At a certain point, can people just take it if it's abandoned?
Can we please have English squatters' rights?
Yes. Reduced commercial rent by half with a minimum rent of $6,000 a month. This would be a retroactive rent, and tenants would be owed overpaid rent collected after 9/11. Next, we fire everyone with the title of commissioner in New York City government and demote everyone working underneath them.
Damn. What's he got against commissioners? What kind of commissioners are there out there?
Oh my, give me a second. All right.
Yeah. 'Cause I hear commissioner and I only think of like police.
Police commissioner. There's a commissioner of the Board of Elections. There's an education commissioner, a parks commissioner. There's a lot. But
Got it.
no more commissioners. We're demoting and firing.
Yeah, a czar by any other name.
And finally, conduct a full investigation into officials who were complicit in the real estate scheme that Jimmy uncovered in the early 1990s. And so, Una, I'm going to ask you, what did you write down or think was the reason for why the rent is too damn high?
I mean, honestly, I put down developers.
Oh man, I'm sorry. That is incorrect. I'd initially written down capitalism.
Sure, even more honest, yeah.
The actual answer is worse. So Jimmy found there was a cabal of international immigrant landlords taking over
really, Jimmy?
Taking over whole neighborhoods in Brooklyn and raising rents for everyone who's not part of their in-group. He referred to them as the Jewish Mafia.
No!
Yup!
No!
Oh, sorry. I peeked the mic on that one. Sorry. Yep. The rent is too damn high because of Jews.
No.
Jimmy, this is the thing that broke me. Jimmy is a raging anti-Semite.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
New York.
Yeah. And it's like, it's just the worst. But it gets even worse than this. Because around 2005, he released a book and produced a DVD called What Jews Want, where he revealed the more common name of the Jews that he was talking about, Al-Qaeda.
Huh?
He would make the claim that Al-Qaeda had been hiding in Jewish neighborhoods in Brooklyn and were allowed to be hidden for long enough to pull off 9/11.
Wow, this is extremely anti-Semitic, like wildly so, like a little ahead of its time.
It's kind of not, but yeah. I mean, at least this type of anti-Semitism has been simmering for a while, and we only know it fairly well now because of Kanye. But
right, yeah, no, I should profess to being absolutely innocent on the internets.
And this is I brought up the Crown Heights riot earlier, which was a huge racial strife between the black residents of Brooklyn and the Jewish residents.
Oh, the Hasidic community, yeah,
where a Hasidic rabbi was in a car convoy. A child was trying to cross the road and they ran him over. And the police seemed to let the rabbi go. And while rumors spread that the child was still trapped under one of the cars, but they were attending to the rabbi first. That ended up not being true, I believe. But
sure, but everyone got angry and just jumped to the conclusion. Yeah,
it was just a real bad time all around.
Oh.
So it's kind of birthed from that type of anti-Semitism had been brewing for quite some time when Jimmy was formulating these really horrific ideas. And to take you back to 1993 when he was running for mayor, the reason he was tied to a tree and doused in gasoline was because he was filming Jews, and they were sending him a message to stop filming him.
I just don't think that's their style.
No, well, and Jimmy had made the point back in 93 before he changed his story. Like, the dudes who kidnapped him, he only saw one, and it was a black guy. Which, yes, black people can be Jewish, but at the same time, it's like, you're clearly changing your fucking story, man.
Yeah.
It's fucking frustrating. So, it leads me to confidently say that Jimmy McMillan is an intense piece of shit. And it really, really sucks that a story that I thought was going to be really fun and easy to tell is this. We have this information just hovering over all of it.
We need a quick phrase for when you get milkshake ducked by what you think is going to be a fun story.
Yeah. So I'll admit this is a really hard hurdle to get over in regards to me wanting to continue the episode because.
And that's it, folks. And we found out he was virulently anti-Semitic, so we're shutting down the episode.
Yeah. And it's like, the whole reason I started this, as I thought, oh, he suffers from being a meme too soon. I bet he's a really decent guy, and I bet he lived a really interesting life, but we only remember him for this. It was going to be honorific, and then he pulls this bullshit. Ugh, it's really frustrating. So yeah, we continue on, knowing that Jimmy McMillan is an anti-Semite and a piece of shit. So let's talk about the rent is too damn high party. So Jimmy's the chairman of the party. No shock there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's running for mayor in 2005, so he better be. As for party president, Jimmy would turn to Christelle Felix, a college sophomore and theater major.
Oh, no.
So how they know each other is the year prior, Jimmy had adapted one of his biographies into a stage play called Standing in Line for the BA. And Christelle was in it. And they just kind of struck up a friendship, I guess. And so she's the president of the party.
That's amazing. But also, no, don't give this job to a theater person.
Why? What's wrong with that?
Theater major? I mean,
Look,
maybe a working theater person. Like, yeah, you should absolutely hire a stage manager because they're going to get shit done.
Yes.
But a sophomore theater major, you don't no.
Like,
no.
I looked at things a little bit. During the campaign, she is busy being in A Raisin in the Sun. Like, she doesn't have the time for this.
That's what they do. They overcommit.
Yeah. So yeah, at least for vice president, they go with someone a bit more mature. And by that, I mean they picked Christelle's sister, Samantha, who at the time is a high school senior.
Someone younger?
To be vice president of the party.
It's going to look great on a resume, and you need all the help you can get at that time.
She needs to get into NYU, man. It's
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like that's kind of ick that like a 50-something person is like, I will have children run my party.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, though there is a like goofy 90s sitcom quality to this May-December like professional relationship.
If it wasn't for the release of this anti-Semitic information, I'd probably be less judgmental. But now my flags are up and I want to protect everyone who's around him.
Yeah, you're out for blood.
And for the first time ever, Jimmy's not going to have to run on his own. Erling King, the president of a community service organization, seemed to mostly focus on tenant advocacy and AIDS walks, would join the party to run for the New York City Council in the 45th District. And with Erling, you at least someone who could be considered a more serious candidate. She'd unsuccessfully run for the same seat in 2003 in the Democratic primary, so she at least knows how to get on the ballot.
There we go. That's a step.
And this time around, Jimmy seemed to take note. He set up tables around the city, and before long, he got enough signatures for the first time ever and made the ballot. In an interview with the Daily News, Jimmy noted that all he had to do was mention the name of his party, and neighbors couldn't wait to sign his petition. And when housing experts noted that people were in fact paying more than half their income in rent, that's kind of an easy thing to get behind.
Yeah.
In his first race, Jimmy would get a little over 4,000 votes, finishing 5th of 8 with 0.32% of the vote. But he did beat out the Libertarian, Socialist Workers, and Education parties who were running for mayor. As for Arlene, she finished 3rd out of 3, but got a very respectable 7% of the vote.
Okay, that's almost 2 digits.
But, no time to celebrate someone else's success in your brand new party, or to even mention how well she did on your website. It's 2006, and Jimmy has to get ready for his brand new party to run for the governor's race.
Okay.
Especially since this time, he got enough signatures to run as the very first ever rent is too damn high candidate for governor. They did not pick anyone to run for lieutenant governor, which is weird when you have Erling King right there. So Jimmy would continue to make New York City rent control his main issue of the campaign. But he did add a few extra things to appeal to the rest of the state. First, he expanded the rent freeze from 4 years to 8 years. Second, he will reform, dismantle, or outright abolish every single housing authority in the state.
That could go sideways real quick.
Yeah, so some housing authorities, they're like, oh, we're gonna keep an eye on codes and pay for it. Some of them are the only source of affordable housing in small towns.
Mm-hmm.
So abolishing that is a bad idea.
Yeah.
third, he's going to charge Jewish landlords in Brooklyn with hate crime violations.
Oh, sir, no, you have it wrong.
No, they're only renting to Jewish people, so that's a hate crime. I'm gonna charge him as governor.
And just so we're clear, what I'm doing to you in charging you for a hate crime is not itself a hate crime, even though I'm singling out Jewish landlords specifically.
Yeah, hate crimes are like double negatives. You can't back around on that. But that's not all. The thing about being an artist is once you create, you kind of can't stop yourself. That itch never goes away. And in 2006, Jimmy resurrected Hamster Records and released The Rent is Too Damn High CD for $25.
Yeah. $25? The CD is too damn high.
But it's 10 whole tracks of music dealing almost entirely with rent issues. And sure, that's Casio keyboard and MIDI files all over the place. But I would be lying if I said it wasn't a vast improvement from his boogie phase. So one of the songs you actually can kind of get an example of is called Eviction Notice. And it's fine. There's a small sample of all the songs you can hear, where it goes from rent is too high, I got evicted. There's one moment where he's just like, I'm paraphrasing here, but the lyric is essentially, your butt makes me want to fuck you. And it goes back to rent.
Woo!
You
Jimmy.
Gotta have a booty anthem in there. Otherwise, it's not gonna get play on the stations.
Why do you have a home in the first place? To put in bed.
I'm gonna live in that booty. Look, it's the mid-2000s. Everyone loves ass. So this time around, Jimmy would also get something he never had before, an endorsement. The Integrity Party had been founded in 2004 when Democrat Darren Johnson split from the New York Liberal Party, which I know is a lot of words. I think we brought this up before. New York has a really weird third party system where there's a bunch and you could be a member of the Democratic Party and like a bunch of these minor parties. So Darren is a Democrat, but he's also the chairman of the New York Liberal Party, which usually will endorse centrist to moderate Democrats. Or liberal, while the Working Families Party, they're there for the progressive candidates, and such what. So he leaves the Liberal Party and founds the Integrity Party to be an offshoot of the Reform Party, which had been founded by Ross Perot in 1996. This is already too complicated, so I don't want to go into how horribly the Reform Party in New York was doing at the time. There were like dozens of people fighting over it to the point
there are dozens of us.
Yes, literally there are dozens of us, including the former members of the New Alliance Party.
Oh no.
Trying to get control of it. It essentially bankrupts the party nationwide.
Incredible.
But Johnson threw his support in the Integrity Party behind Jimmy and even spoke out when the state tried to do the worst, censor the name of the party. They wanted to call it the Rent is Too High Party. Gee shucks.
Hell no. This is New York, baby.
So Jimmy felt like they were doing this because of his morality issue, and there's a whole page about how damn can't be a swear word because it's in the Bible. Which, I mean, I'll give you that.
Go off, King.
The reason they got rid of the damn is so boring. The name of the party was too long to fit on ballots.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
That's all it was. Eventually, they would get around this by changing the 2 in the party name to the number 2, and they just got under the wire by doing it.
Like a Prince song.
Yeah, just like Prince.
Rent 2, number 2, high.
It's also the mid-2000s, so it's all they need is like a
the
Z
artist formerly known as Prince.
Yes. So thanks to the help of his 10 brand new tracks, Jimmy got 13,000 votes statewide. Good enough for 5th place out of 6 with 0.3% of the vote.
Okay, but not dead last.
No, not dead. Jimmy's very good at finishing 5th and never last. So between 2006 and 2009, nothing really happens. But coming back in 2009, we are now 1 year away from peak McMillan. And it's a mayoral election year, so he's got to run. And we have some main changes. For one, the Rent is Too Damn High party has gone from a black text on a white background to white text on a black background.
Okay, a little bit of pop. I can see it.
There's 50% more Comic Sans.
Oh, no.
And there are enough animated GIFs to put a MySpace page to shame.
Oh, no.
Not only that, but any political platforms or anti-Semitic conspiracy theories are gone from the front page.
Hey! Hey,
Yeah.
how about that? Great.
It's now entirely Jimmy's new rent-based music.
Yes, good.
And this time, he had his own campaign page where he states he is both a Democrat and independent candidate for mayor. And he tweaked his platform a little bit. So part of his new platform is if you live in a building that was built before 9/11, your rent goes down to $550 a month. If it was built after 9/11, $785. If you own a business, the rent on your space goes down to the average of what businesses were paying in 2001 and is frozen at that rate for 8 years. And, yeah, I forgot. He does allude to this all being the Jews' fault again. He's just using coded language now. But he does want to forgive all student loan debt.
Okay.
He wants to make college free at all the city universities in New York. He wants to abolish property taxes, ban evictions and foreclosures,
Great.
reduce or waive all mortgages, which no idea how that's going to work.
Yeah. I mean, granted, like at this point, Lehman Brothers doesn't exist anymore, right? Like we're at that point in history.
Oh yeah,
yes?
we're at darkest moment in
Yeah.
American home ownership. Yes.
So fuck it. No mortgage. That's what got us into this problem.
I mean, it's just rent for people who want to own a home. So,
Yeah, exactly. Fuck the banks.
yeah. Abolish the Rent Control Board, the Rent Guidelines Board, and the Rent Stabilization Board of the city. And he's going to look into his conspiracy, which now includes the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, Mayor Mike Bloomberg, and Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac.
I mean, you're 1 for 3, bud. Like, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, it's really disheartening to see all this stuff where it's like, yeah, I get this is bold, this is interesting, and then to come back around with this fucking rent blood libel. Just like, what the fuck, man?
I know. It's peak millennial. We can't have anything nice.
Yes. This is around the time that millennials gain our nihilism and never let go. So of course, the biggest meme of our early life in politics is going to be this.
Yes.
So in this election, Earlene King would choose to run for New York City Council, but this time as a Democrat. But Jimmy would pick up a new candidate, accountant and retired auditor for Nassau County, Salim Ijaz. Now, Salim had attempted to run in the Democratic primary for city comptroller, but after his signatures were challenged, he moved over to run third party. That is, until October 14th, when Jimmy suddenly announced the party would no longer support Salim, and he would be endorsing the Democratic nominee, John Liu. Jimmy said, quote, "Salim is not worth being there. We made a mistake, and we apologize for it." However, when Salim was asked about it, he had a different story. So what he had done is he started looking at the party website and started noticing all the anti-Semitism and brought it up to Jimmy, and Jimmy got very mad. And so when Jimmy refused to remove that stuff from the website, Salim told them to get his name off their website and that he was not running for them anymore.
There you go.
So after this, Salim was very cordial with the press and wished Jimmy well. But Jimmy outright called him a traitor, who the people of New York could never trust. And Salim finished 4th out of 5 with 1.2% of the vote and never ran for office again.
Oh.
As for Jimmy, he finished 5th of 8 with 2,300 votes, or 0.2%, which brings us to 2010, the year Jimmy McMillan would become Jimmy McMillan. Once again, it was a gubernatorial election year, so of course Jimmy's gonna run. He planned to run in the Democratic primary against Attorney General Andrew Cuomo, but he would have to hit that high bar of 15,000 signatures. This time, though, he had an ally to get to 15K. Comedian and political activist Randy Credico. So Randy was attempting to run for Senate that year against Democratic primary incumbent Kirsten Gillibrand. And he figured if he worked with McMillan, a guy who was kind of building a name, that they could create a joint petition and get not just Jimmy on the ballot, but Randy and the Rent is Too Damn High Party's nominee for Senate, Lumis Joseph Huff. And yeah, so Credico believed that if they all work together, it's going to be a slam dunk for everyone. All everyone has to do is get 5,000 signatures, and they could all get on the ballot.
Boom. Just that easy.
So the trio met in Albany, and Randy collected the work from Jimmy and Loomis and stayed behind to turn them in, but he noted that they, quote, both pulled off in brand new vehicles. I don't think this alludes to anything, but he seemed very mad they were pulling away in brand new cars while he was there to do the work.
We are still in a recession, people.
So Randy, before he goes in, he's looking over the petitions, and he noticed they had given him, quote, a wagon load of blank pages.
Okay, first of all, the chef's kiss of whack and load.
Yes, it's probably metric. I don't know how you measure a wagon load, but yeah. And Randy turned them in anyway because they'd done the work, and who knows, maybe there's enough there. And after the count, they'd come with a couple thousand short. Randy could not run the Democratic primary. Weirdly enough, third-party candidates could get fewer votes to run. So Loomis is on the ballot. And it just so happened that Jimmy had changed his party affiliation from Democratic to Rent is Too Damn High so he could keep running for governor.
Oh my God.
So in the end, Randy Credico would be disqualified from running and hold an eternal grudge with Jimmy McMillan. But we have no time for this because we're hitting peak Jimmy, and you better have your safety equipment ready. On October 18th, 2010, Jimmy would appear in his first ever televised debate, and he made the absolute most of it. As predicted, he oft repeated the phrase that the rent was, in fact, too damn high, and this caused Andrew Cuomo, who was assigned to sit next to him, to agree with
Andrew.
Yeah. So at one moment, Andrew's like, I agree, the rent's too damn high. And Jimmy responded to this by putting his hand on Andrew Cuomo's shoulder and elicited a very uncomfortable reaction from Andrew Cuomo, which I don't know. Maybe that's a professional lesson about personal space you could have taken into your regular life, Andy.
Sing it, Dusty. Doesn't feel good, does it, Andrew?
In regards to whether or not Jimmy supported same-sex marriage, he said he would marry anyone and said, if you wanted to marry a shoe, I'll marry you. Which
Didn't answer the question, but let's move on.
It's pretty much in line with his LGBTQ stances, because it's like, on the face, it sounds like he's totally cool with it, but then, says some shit that kind of dehumanizes people.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you want to marry a shoe? Sure, fuck it.
No, I was asking about two humans.
There's one instance after this debate where someone asks him how he feels about transgender people, and he brings up seeing a man in a skirt in New York City. Is like, that's just so wonderful that people can do whatever they want. Isn't that the spirit of America? And it's like, you're not answering the question. You're conflating potentially cross-dressing with transgenderism. It's like you're not saying what I think you're saying.
It's like you saw that person and then went about your business. You're not speaking at all to the safety of that person after you have walked away. It's like,
yes,
I'm glad you had a positive reaction, but that person absolutely does not have full legal rights. Are you going to do anything about that? That's the question.
Did I tell you the rent is too damn high?
Are they Jewish?
Oh my God. Oh, God, I didn't need that. It's so perfect. The things that made the news a bit less, though, there's a moment that he talks about bulldozing the Adirondack Mountains.
Why?
I don't know.
Because they're not too damn high. They're not the highest mountain range.
They're just too pretty. They're distracting. But it didn't get as much play. And just this performance caused Jimmy to become a memorable character. His facial hair, his statements, the black gloves he wore, because he said it's something he started doing due to his exposure to Agent Orange, and kind of insinuated he always wears gloves in public and then takes them off when he gets home. I think it's more like a comfort precaution and just something he does to make himself feel a little safer.
Sure, yeah.
And yeah, he might not be governor, but he's someone you could not forget. So for the following weeks, Jimmy found himself massively in demand. He claimed he received interview requests from Don Imus and Oprah Winfrey. He received an endorsement from the American Mustache Institute. He even received praise from literal demon Roger Stone, who said, quote, he's a cross between Isaac Hayes and Hulk Hogan. He's very entertaining.
Okay.
As for the Anti-Defamation League, they were keen to remind people about the stuff that Jimmy had said. And Jimmy would respond to this by saying he had apologized for those comments, but he didn't really need to apologize because, quote, Jews were the slave masters.
Oh, Jimmy, there you are. I mean,
yep.
First of all, you didn't apologize.
Nope.
Secondly, wow, you doubled down in the same breath.
You not only didn't apologize, you somehow made it worse.
You made it so much worse.
But as most TikTokers or YouTubers turned politicians will tell you, social trending does not equal votes. On election day, once again, Jimmy finished 5th with 41,000 votes, or 0.88%. And this wouldn't even be enough to automatically place the Rent is Too Damn High party on future ballots. The thing is, though, is once you kind of get a taste for fame and attention, you can't just let it go. And to paraphrase Kenan Thompson, playing Jimmy, quote, by a 66-1 margin, the people of New York told me I was too qualified to be governor, so I'm running for president. On Christmas Eve of 2010, Jimmy announced his candidacy for president and that he would be running in the Republican primaries.
Republican primaries?
Mm-hmm. The thing, though, is aside from getting 2 more Weekend Update segments, this went nowhere. There was a moment in 2012 where he tried to get a recount of the 2010 gubernatorial election just to, try to get his party on the ballot for the next time around. But if you ask for a recount, you got to pay for it. And when they presented it with how much that was going to cost, he backed down. Shortly after asking for this recount, he suspended his campaign for president and switched to running for mayor in 2013. In 2013, the Rent is Too Damn High party would run a high of 3 candidates. Not only was Jimmy running for mayor, but Erling King is back to run for New York City Council. And for third, they got Chief Diversity Officer at Medgar Evers College, Sylvia Kennard. She'd initially run in the Democratic primary for New York City Council in the 40th District, but after finishing third with 10% of the vote, she switched over to the Rent is Too Damn High party to keep running. Like Jimmy and Erlene, she made tennis rights the focus of her campaign. Now, this should have been a sign of forward momentum. Well, one visit to the party website depicts otherwise. Gone is the party's platform and plans. There's no mention of King or Kennard's races, but you can buy a t-shirt with Jimmy's silhouetted facial hair or one of the 50,000 remaining action figures of himself that he had made after his boost in popularity following the debates.
No,
it was
action
$40.
Figures?
It looks bad.
No.
Yeah, the company that makes these action figures has a whole line of Sarah Palin action figures. Like, it's...
Jeez.
Yeah, and they all look awful. All signs pointed to Jimmy wasting his 15 minutes of fame, and by 2013, all interest was just gone. Erling King would get a one-on-one race against a Democrat, was only able to get 3% of the vote, while Sylvia Kennard finished second to 3 with 6%. And for Jimmy, for the first time, he finished in 6th, with a low of 1,990 votes, or 0.18%.
Oof.
The last big push for the party would come in 2014. It is a gubernatorial year, and Jimmy would announce, yes, I'm running for governor again. And longtime party president Christal Felix would be his first ever running mate. They would also run future Democrat and occasional Libertarian Gregory John Fisher for state comptroller as well. But by the end of September, the State Board of Elections announced that none of the candidates had qualified. Because it turns out when they submitted their signatures, they submitted a lot of photocopies of duplicates.
Ruh-roh.
Yeah, which is, you can't trick your way on the ballot. There are people whose whole job is to count this shit. They take it very seriously.
I mean, sure, who hasn't tried to put a couple dollar bills into the printer at work and just see what happens?
So yeah, it was kind of a really good symbol for how seriously the party was taking its 2014 run. The party was barely mentioned in 2014, and the header of the website now featured short ads to hire Jimmy as a, quote, rent detective.
No, thank you.
I clicked on it, and it's just like, hey, do you need me to look into stuff? Call my number.
Nice.
And so this really marks a period of just how quickly Jimmy's life turned around. During his peak in 2010, some of the local news kind of thought, or the Post in particular, thought they had a gotcha moment for Jimmy, because they looked into his apartment in Brooklyn and found that his rent was not too damn high. His rent was about $800 a month and rent controlled.
Oh, shit.
But, you don't have to be living the exact circumstance to fight it.
Yeah, if anything, it's an awareness that other people have it worse, rather than being like, well, I'm only paying $800, so fuck all y'all.
But a problem came up in 2015 because Jimmy hadn't really been staying at that apartment. He had been letting his unemployed son stay there, and Jimmy was kind of subletting illegally.
Oh.
So when his landlord found out about that, a man who was very interested in raising the rent, he had Jimmy evicted.
No. And if Jimmy had only been in power, none of this would have happened.
we would have had a different home. But yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Wait, does Mayor of New York get his own mansion? Probably
There's a
not.
governor's mansion, but I don't know if it's symbolic.
Yeah. Yeah, come to think of it, I don't think Lori Lightfoot lives in like the government building.
No.
Yeah.
She lives somewhere on the west side.
Yeah,
Anyway.
yeah. So in 2015, Jimmy had lost his apartment and had moved to essentially the East Village.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Where he had been renting an apartment there for a while. So he's renting 2 apartments, one for his son and one for himself. So in 2015, he took a moment to endorse internet goof D's Nuts for president. In 2016, he endorsed Donald Trump.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I just remember anti-Semitism.
Yep.
Then in 2017, he became the de facto Republican nominee for New York City Council in the 2nd District of the East Village of Manhattan. It was an impossible race for him to win, but he had his biggest success ever, finishing 2nd to 5 with 11.7% of the vote.
Oh, double digits. Second.
In 2018, Jimmy would try to make the gubernatorial ballot, but once again, he ended up short on signatures. And the following year, Jimmy would announce his retirement from politics, and that if anyone wanted to buy it, the Rent is Too Damn High party is for sale. No one made any offers, and as of 2022, Erling King holds the rank of president of the party.
Like the Agent Orange stored at the atolls, no one chose to buy it.
5 years later. And then we get to probably the saddest part. In February of 2022, Jimmy had a stroke. He survived. He's currently living at a nursing home in Queens that's run by the Department of Veterans Affairs, and he is still fighting his eviction of his apartment in Brooklyn. No one's been able to rent it because it's still in the courts.
Well, in that case, good for him at least.
Agree. And it's from here that he promised that the Rent is Too Damn High party is going to return. And it kind of has, in the shittiest way possible. So in 2021, community activist and auxiliary cop Anthony T. Jones was making his 3rd run for political office. He ran for New York State Assembly in the 55th District in 2012 and 2014 as a Democrat, scoring 2nd of 3 in both of the primaries with respectable turnouts of 15% and 11%. He'd taken some time off, but returned to run for Brooklyn Borough President. He ran as a Democrat again, and this time finished 8th of 12, getting booted in the 5th round of voting. But rather than give up for a 3rd time, Anthony took up the mantle to be the first Rent is Too Damn High candidate to be on the ballot since 2017. He finished 3rd of 4th, 2.7%, but he stayed in the party. This very year, he ran for New York State Assembly and finished 3rd of 3 with 2.4%. But here's where it gets kind of shitty. Because Anthony is the district leader in the 55th District for the Democratic Party. He is part of the Brooklyn Democratic Party machine. And he's kind of a piece of shit. So in April of this year, online news outlet The City looked into Jones and found that he was closely tied to ballot objections that had been filed against non-machine Democratic candidates where the signatures had been forged. Essentially, the city contacted people who had written their names down on these ballots to challenge these signatures, and everyone they called was like, I never signed that. And they bared a striking resemblance to signatures that was on Anthony Jones's petitions. Almost as though they were photocopied.
Oh my God.
Turns out the Board of Elections also found that Anthony had submitted fake signatures during his 2021 run from fake donors and denied him matching funds for his campaign, which has left him in $750,000 of debt.
Good. Pay it back.
So maybe this isn't so much an earnest attempt to resurrect the third party as much as it is a nihilistic Democratic operative using this as a way to maybe siphon off votes. But really, who fucking cares? It is a party founded at its roots in anti-Semitism.
Yeah, there's no getting around that.
So maybe you don't deserve a proper legacy. Maybe it shouldn't keep going. If, we're going to make rent control and affordable housing a thing, I don't know. Maybe the Democratic Party should get its head out of its ass and make it one of their things.
They are. Biden just announced a national homelessness campaign alongside Karen
in New York City.
Oh, okay. Well, they're getting there.
Actually, yes.
We can't all have Karen Bass as our mayor.
Yeah. And yeah, it's definitely a thing where these machine politics exist to make sure progressive candidates do not win, and they're losing their grip, hence why they're freaking out like this. But that's Jimmy McMillan's story. A sad, frustrating nostalgia trip, rooted in anti-Semitism, one decent tune, and just sadness. Just sadness all around.
Yeah, it sucks.
I hated this. I hated every minute of this.
Dusty, how do you feel?
Oh my God. I could never expect I'm gonna have a fun, easy time with any of this.
No.
Like the one, like I had fun looking into Gabriel Green and his UFO shit. He was just a nice guy who wanted to believe in aliens. What's the harm in that? He hurt no one. It just, fuck, man. So yeah, how are you feeling at the end of this?
So complicated because truly, what generation but ours needs the rent is too damn high? And as you said, instead, it's just milkshake duck from here to eternity. Hey, we got this great progressive. Oh, it's racist. Oh, it's horribly anti-Semitic.
Yeah.
Oh, never mind. I guess we'll just vote for this fucking dino candidate.
Like the saddest thing is I was looking into this. The only reason I found out, I would have eventually found the anti-Semitic shit just from his own websites. But the people bringing it up are folks with like blogspot accounts who are just doing local work. And one was literally talking about Jimmy McMillan performing a concert in 2011. And then they had to write an addendum saying, we're sorry, apparently this guy's a horrible anti-Semite.
I mean, yeah, that's the other thing that gets me, because I like my memory of Jimmy is as a Daily Show lineup talking about, I guess, a New York election. It must have been 2010 because it was when he was becoming meme worthy, and it's like, oh, and then this guy, the rent is too damn high. Well, can't argue with that kind of a thing.
Yeah,
like no one went further than that.
Yeah, it's just it's one of those things that would have been so nice. It'd be nice to have nice things. That's all I'm gonna say with this. I could, yeah. I'm just gonna keep running in circles. It also speaks to the due diligence that we now have to do whenever something funny happens. Like, we can't just have something funny. This has happened to folks of our generation multiple times since 2010. That like we'll find something online, someone will say something funny on Twitter once, and then we'll look into it and like, oh, this person's terrible. It'll be Bean Dad, or it's gonna be fucking the Cinnamon Toast Crunch shit with the shrimp tails and all of that. It's just like, it's good
you just try to ride it for as long as you
have to.
Yeah, you just try to ride it as long as you can.
Yeah.
Before faced with the reality.
Well, on that note, have a merry holiday. We're probably gonna have an episode coming out before the Christmases and all of that, but
yeah, we're leaving you with anti-Semite.
Yeah, join for Christmas, like help pay someone's rent. Do that.
There you go.
It'll be more than Jimmy ever did. So, but yeah, all right. I guess we'll see you next time, and hopefully my voice will be 100% perfect next time here on Gadfly. Gadfly is a production of Added Serotonin. Our episodes are edited by Brianna Valentine of Rem Alternus Productions. Our theme song is Sophomore Makeout by Silent Partner, and you can find us on Twitter and Instagram at GadflyPod.
Ready to level up your cosplay game? Check out the Geek Forge on Etsy. With a variety of props to give your photos that extra spark, you'll find just what you need. Hold magical fire in the palm of your hand, or take a potion to restore your mana. With a large variety of colors, you can choose your own magical flavor for your cosplay. Bring drama to your photo shoots with these vibrant props and more, all available at the Geek Forge. Are you ready to level up your cosplay?